Good day, Professor. My name is Abel Felipe Izquierdo Diaz. I'm a student of 8th semester of Risk Management and SST. I'm going to explain a mental map about the applicability of economic analysis of law, AED, and this is an overview of the mental map. I'm going to make a zoom to explain the main concepts. So in this part, we find this concept of objective assessment of cost, the main objective of accident law, to compensate victims to reduce the cost of accidents, purpose to reduce the cost of accidents through the theory of loss diffusion, and we have another main concept, the economic analysis of law, Anglo-Saxon law. Liability is based on fault and negligence. An interview with Guido Calabresi, Anglo-Saxon law say liability based on foul and negligence. Latin tradition law say strictly liability and based on create risks. Anglo-Saxon law, the plaintiff must demonstrate the defense negligence. Latin tradition law, inversion of the burden of proof, the defendant must demonstrate they did not act negligence. Latin tradition law employs obligation to affiliate and insure workers with ARL, and Anglo-Saxon law, there isn't a similar mandatory affiliation and insure system. Latin tradition law allows multi-affiliation of workers to different RLL. Anglo-Saxon law say doesn't allow multi-affiliation. Each employer is responsible for their own workers. And tools to prevent or minimize damage or accidents. Private and social costs of accidents, optimization, caution, and reduction of accident cost, unilateral and bilateral caution, minimization of cost, primary, secondary, and tertiary of accidents, damage compensation, and civil liability, damage prevention, demarcation of behaviors and freedom to act, the expensive function of tort law and the minimization of accident cost. Damage compensation is only a part of the overall objective of tort law, which also seeks to minimize the cost of accidents. And, highlighted quotes, the expensive function of tort law can play as a significant role in accident prevention. So that's all of this part. I'm going to show you the other part of the mental map where we can find and different main concepts. For example, difference between Anglo-Saxon tort law and civil liability of the Latin. Liability theory, Anglo-Saxon law based on fault and negligence. Latin tradition law based on create risk and strict liability. Strict liability based on the create risk theory. Anyone exposing another to a service must answer for the derived consequence. Employees' obligations, affiliation and insure with a labor risk administration, ARL in Spanish, and payment of the corresponding contributions. Extension of stricter liability. So we can find a different concept, individual subject to liability, any individual exposing another to a labor contingency, obligation for affiliation and insurance, all employees influencing the created risk, even in case of multiple labor ties within the same time period, applies to all labor activities and all workers protected by the general labor risk system. Share responsibility insured. Each contractor must make the corresponding contribution based on the salary paid. regardless of how many employees a worker has, almost comply with affiliation and insures. Burden of proof, Anglo-Saxon law say, the plaintiff must demonstration the defendant's negligence. Latin tradition law, inversion of the burden of proof, the defendant must demonstrate the negligence. Affiliation and insure, Latin tradition law say, the employee's obligation to affiliate and insure workers with an ARL to cover labor risk. And Anglo-Saxon law, there isn't a similar mandatory affiliation and insurance system. Multi-affiliation, in the Latin tradition law, always multi-affiliation of workers to different RLs to cover various labor risks from different contracts, and Anglo-Saxon law doesn't allow multi-affiliation. Each employer is responsible for their own workers. And the last concept is tort law and its analysis, from compensation to privation, contracts, transaction costs, and tort law and social science, Spanish tort rights, judicial law, tort law, and the minimization of accident costs. And the last is the highlight quotes. Tort law plays a fundamental role in minimizing the cost of accidents. Accidents prevention has become a significant objective for tort law. This is the explanation of the mental map. Thank you very much for your attention and for your time, teacher.